Don't forget to suck some titties.
Sigmon. He recently was executed using the firing squad method for the first time in 15 years. Now, Brad Sigmon, this occurred in Columbia, South Carolina. The funny part is he got to choose how he wanted to die, which is kind of ironic how people who are getting the death penalty because more likely they killed someone, which I'll get into the details in a minute of what he did. It's funny how he didn't want to do the electric chair because it would cook him alive. It's like, wow, nice that you got to be able to choose your death. But yeah, this dude's closing statement, by the way, which is funny how people get closing statements like anyone gives a fuck what they have to say. I want my closing statement to be one of love and a calling to my fellow Christians, there it is, to help us end the death penalty. You know, one thing he wants to leave a mark and make a difference because one thing, no matter what, in certain religions and stuff, no matter what you do, no matter what you did, as long as you can rationalize and as a Christian, all can be forgiven, right? An eye for an eye justification of the death penalty is overtaken by Jesus' New Testament guidance of grace and mercy. Basically, what he's saying there is the eye for an eye of the Old Testament should be in effect because the New Testament says for grace and mercy. Well, that's the reason why there's separation of church and state, my buddy. This is exactly why, which even though it's still involved, but whatever. In case you guys are wondering, what the fuck did this guy do to get 3 people with rifles to annihilate his ass for his death? On April 27, 2001, he showed up to an ex-girlfriend's parents' house. His plan was to tie the parents up and kidnap his ex for a romantic getaway. I think there's other terms we would parlay that. It's not really romantic if the other person doesn't want to go with you. I think we could just say it's something else. But instead, I guess something happened. He decided to beat the parents up with a baseball bat 9 times each. And of course, they died. And he tried to kidnap her, but she jumped out of the car and he was able to get a bullet in her foot. Now, she survived. It was a long time ago. She survived, and so he didn't get the getaway, but he got some bullets in his chest instead. And he admitted to all this. Like, basically, when rubber met the road and he was being tried, like, yep, I did that shit, and I was wrong. Forgiveness and all this stuff. Here's a quote for his rationalization for some of this stuff. I was obsessed with her. Did I love her? More than anything else in the world. That's why you just gotta be with someone that doesn't love you. I'm kidding. Because you know what? I don't want a bullet in my foot or my parents be beaten with a baseball bat. Damn, that got dark real quick. But still, See that? And I think honestly, to be serious for a second, this is kind of a symptom of, this happened in 2001, but still, I think it still parlays in today's kind of our adjustment to intensity in terms of entitlement and stuff like that. Like this guy, people seek that extreme lust and stuff like that. Like, obviously they weren't together. Anyone that for your love, they would tie up your parents and beat them to death with a baseball bat, do they really love you? like And that's the thing. It's psychopath, narcissism to the extremest extent. And you can sense one, I know it's a small, his statement of, if I read it again, and this isn't to make this religious, but it is again the mind of psychopaths, of anytime their back's against the wall, they turn to extreme things, extremism, people, a group of people that they know no matter what you do, there is a force to forgive. And forgiveness is one of those things that I think we have become too comfortable being okay with overall in society. You know, to be okay with people murdering someone's parents because their profound love for them, you know, it's not exactly the type of forgiveness is like, hey, I didn't do the dishes last night. I forgive you. You know, that's forgiveness. Hey, I accidentally kicked your cat outside. Now, I don't know, that may be a little bit harder to forgive. There's different levels of forgiveness. Like, hey, I took your car out to run some errands. I know I didn't ask you, but I did kind of, you know, sideswipe someone, and I know you're not insured and now have any money to cover it. You may be able to be forgiven there. Those are things, there's levels to increase forgiveness. And a quote that I thought of, I made this shit up, by the way. Not the story, but this quote. The people who cause the most pain and harm to the world and to people are typically the ones that ask for the most forgiveness, right? Like, look, everyone makes mistakes. There's levels to it. But forgiveness overall has become this beaten down justice no matter what, because of faith, because of, they say, the easy thing is to hold on to stuff. The hardest part is forgiving. That's what a big person does. It's like, most things, yes. I don't think all things should be forgiven. I'm sorry. If you try to kidnap my daughter, and you better successfully kill me. Because there's no amount of pleading and forgiveness and, anything you could do for me to forgive that. There's nothing forgivable about it. But the reason why he felt like he can do it is because there's this extremism aspect that people crave of extreme love no matter what till the world ends, till death do us part. It's like, you weren't even one, they weren't married. She wanted nothing to do with him at a certain point. They weren't together. They had a strained relationship. But when you get into those extremism, toxic situations where someone's going to key your car, where someone's going to, eavesdrop on you at 2 a.m. and they drive past your house, the huge. I think he's a symptom, and this was a grown-ass man when he did this. This wasn't like some 20-year-old of, oh man, I saw a location on Snapchat. Oh, but overall, I think the overall thing I think everyone should take out of it is, we do give a lot of, it's funny how, I'm not saying that prisoners shouldn't have rights and stuff like that, because obviously they should. But I think if you kill people and stuff like that, and they do decide to give you the death penalty, it's weird how you get to choose how you die, but the people that you harmed didn't get to choose how they die. The reason why you're there in the first place. Or if you did really, I'm not saying you should get killed the same way that you kill someone, but I don't think it should be up to you to choose how you decided to get the death penalty. People say it's inhumane. Well, what they did to someone was more inhumane. And I know there's a thing about people being, falsely accused and stuff, but if it's pretty odd, the dude admitted to it. Like, it was obvious, yeah, he did that. There's plenty of evidence. And they should have to prove beyond a if you do something, you go to jail, you're in prison. Then over time, if it's like so damning the evidence where it's 100% confirmed, then that's when the death penalty should be applied. There shouldn't be no you get some cool ass meal. You shouldn't get no cool ass last statement. Like most people don't even get last statements except if they write a will and a eulogy themselves. Which no one's writing fucking wills these days. No one has time to write a will. Most people can't afford a will. But it's weird. It's almost like we treat people that do extreme behavior. We reward highly risky, extreme, dangerous behavior more than we do highly beneficial, giving back, just doing good to the world behavior. That's what this signifies to me. And it's real when we glorify prison culture. And, there's a lot of, and honestly, you could blame a lot of social media. I think it's cool when people tell their stories about, being in the cartel and all that stuff. Not that's cool, but, it's good information, entertainment-wise. But we also got to be careful when we glorify to make it too funny or we glorify it to how cool it was and all that stuff. You get these platforms like No Jumper when it comes to gang-related stuff. And people that profit off it, which is a whole different thing, that aren't a part of it, but they profit off it for their own benefit type of thing. You get a lot of this cartels type of stuff. And you get a lot of promotion to it. And indirectly, it probably promotes it more than it doesn't. If that makes sense. But yeah. That's why I decided to open this on a lighthearted note. Welcome to episode 331 of the ONB podcast with Clint Nelson. I'm your host, Clint Nelson. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, hit the fucking notification bell. And don't forget to suck some titties. Yeah, we'll edit all that in. But yeah, you get the jizz. Yeah. Recording this on March 9th? Yeah, March 9th, 2025. For the archives. Yeah. Big old things, eh? Yeah, I've been just looking. It's funny. I've been looking for current topics and news. I was the other. I realized before I get into more stuff that I've been kind of digging, I'm trying to get back to more of the old roots of actually, doing some